I have to sign it and turn it in.
This is the one we've been using.
Yes, yes. I have this.
They were new last year.
Yeah. And they did a really good job last year. We liked it.
I think they went out, they seem to go faster.
Yeah. Better. And it just kind of gets the pricing and I can't tell you how much it changed because.
Well, we had to go the legal size last year rather than the.
Did we? Okay.
So it would have been the 3 cents versus the 2.5.
Okay, yeah, because they were bigger.
Are we,
So I don't know, I think it just depends on.
are we gonna add e-notice service?
Yeah, I was gonna ask about that. I was like, do we want to do that? I haven't really had that. I know that many people have asked about it, and it does cost extra. So,
How much does it cost?
it is on here on the back. E-services is actually it doesn't 12 cents on each of the parcels registered for paperless.
Well,
A one-time setup fee is $10 per parcel. Looks like per
I
M
think we
parcel.
did that last year.
Hmm?
Go online and look at them.
Yeah, they can go online and look.
this year would probably, if we were gonna, if we were gonna do it, this year might be the year to do it because of the courthouse being closed and such.
They've always been able to pay their taxes online.
But if you are paying $10 per parcel
Well, it says per thousand.
per thousand,
Yeah,
okay. Oh yeah, M equals 1,000.
yeah, I had to read the symbols too.
Well, I'm not, well, I don't care. I mean,
How many parcels are there?
Like 17,000.
Yeah, that's a lot. And
Well,
then it says
17,000 parcels times,
10.
well, divided by 1,000
Mm-hmm.
is $170.
Which, and then it's, and then it's 12 cents each on those parcels registered for paperless after the first year. So then that's what it'd be the next year. That they have to go out and register if they want it that way, it looks like. But it's an option for the people.
You didn't have much people ask about that.
I haven't, that I've noticed, no, and I don't remember Kelly and Michelle really saying much about it. I'm sure we could get more maybe this year just because of everything, depending how services open back up.
Mm-hmm.
what would they do that we can't do now?
Go to their email.
Yeah, they probably get emailed to them versus it getting mailed to them.
And
They would have to go out and register for
You're not doing the
paperless.
9 by 12 envelopes, are you?
We do.
It comes in the regular envelope.
Comes in the regular
Just a
size,
regular
yeah.
And they use 8
Standard word. Unless there's a whole bunch of parcels and they have to send them
So
out
that,
more than
that
3, they'll
number
put
10
them
or
in.
number 9?
That would be number 10.
Number 10.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's still cheaper to mail them
Mm-hmm.
2.8 compared to 12 cents.
And if people start asking, then we'll have more of an idea for next year.
Yeah. Well, I don't know why we'd want to spend almost 9.2 cents more. That wouldn't make sense. So I would have thought that would have been less expensive. Once you get them in the system, it
Yeah,
All right.
just hit it and go.
as long as we're getting our taxes, what's the difference?
Yeah.
We ready?
Yes.
So I just
Yes.
have to sign it.
Make a motion to approve Master Touch LLC for the tax statement processing and mailing.
Second.
All right. Tracy made that motion. Gary seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, young lady. Keep up the good work.
Thanks.
Good morning, Mark.
Morning.
Social distancing, I see.
Pardon?
Social distancing, I see.
No, I was just waiting. I'm gonna move in.
You know I'm healthy.
I'm not afraid.
What's the deal? We didn't get the thermometers this week.
Oh, yeah, where's your?
I gave that one to Dana. She needed it worse.
Yeah, probably.
She texted people getting on the buses. And then we have a service center and one down the door, so you could have checked yourself down at the door. We trust that you're feeling better, you wouldn't be in here, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Don't laugh, I'm serious.
Yeah.
You trust him?
I know. You can come run the election.
How's that coming?
We're busy. The ballot's marked and testing.
Do you want to do number 5, amend budget hearing
Well,
amendment
I'm
date?
still waiting on a department, so I'm thinking either the 5th or the 12th, depending on if I get it to the paper this week. I have to get it to the paper this week, even next Wednesday, so then I have to count the days.
Probably just will do it the 12th.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
almost thinking, just because I'm tired of waiting around and trying to beat deadlines, so.
Okay.
I'm gonna amend it to May 12th. Let me see what times we got. I'll probably go with 9:30.
Can I get a motion to amend that hearing date, budget hearing date to May 12th at 9:30 a.m.?
So moved. Second.
Motion by Gary, seconded by Tracy. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Good morning, Benton County Supervisors. Rick Primer speaking. Hello, Doug. You what's that now? What did you say, please? Yep, I got you now. Right? Okay, yeah. Alrighty. Is this a good number to call you back at? Because we're gonna have to see if this allows you in. Well, I know that it is only open to the commercial. I hate to have you drive down there and get turned away. Well, I think with commercial, we're talking like J&R or Country Mile, as well as, yeah.
Does he have a counter?
Do you have an account down there? Okay, he would like to set up an account. This is a contractor.
Okay, they're not setting any accounts up now, but I don't know what he's got. He could call Eric and,
They're shingles.
okay, you have to call Eric to see if Eric will let him bring them down. He's been working with contractors. I know that.
Okay.
So,
You need to call Eric at the landfill. He has been working with contractors, okay? So I don't know that you'll have to get a permit or anything, but, you know. All right.
What are you gonna say?
Help. Okay. Let me, I got your number here, Doug. How about I have Tracy Seaman follow up on this and call you back? Can I do that? Because Tracy's on that board down there. Yep. Yep. And sure. Okay. All right. Well, I will give this phone number that you called in on to Tracy, and he will call Eric, and he will get back to you. Okay. Now, is this a trailer full of just odds and ends? Sure. Yes, I do. Okay. Okay, all right.
Blairstown Landfill.
Okay. Sure, sure. No, I get that. I sure do. Well, as a contractor, I get it. All right. Yeah, I know. Yeah, we don't want that again. Yep, that's correct. Yep. Okay, all right, well, like I said, I'm gonna turn this over. I'll explain it to Tracy and then he will be back in touch, okay? Yep, no, I understand. I sure do. So, okay, sounds good, sir. We'll be back at you. Thank you. Yep, bye-bye. I will tell you the conversation after bed. Okay, Mark, 9:15 on the dot. Hi, Ally. And is there somebody online here?
To call in?
Yes, there is.
Okay, could you identify yourself, please?
Yes, this is Damien Andrew.
Okay, very good.
Good morning, Damien. This is Mark.
All right, good morning, guys.
Damien, you're here with the three supervisors, Rick Primer, Tracy Seaman, and Gary Beershank, and Haley Ripple, the county auditor, and myself are here.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, we'll get started here. I've given you all an application that Damien and Jessica Andrew of Blairstown have submitted to you. Damien and Jessica have purchased an acreage. It's at 2226 79th Street, Watkins. The parcel is 2 3/4 acres in size. It's located in the northwest of the northwest and the northeast of the northwest of section 318210 or St. Clair Township. It's going to be here on the south side of 79th Street, just to the east of 22nd Avenue Drive, approximately right here, southeast of Blairstown. With the application, I've given you an aerial and a couple of photographs that basically show you what the land that we're looking at looks like. The land is an old farmstead. The house was torn down more than 3 years ago, so the rebuild here needs to have the Board of Supervisors review and approval. The new home is proposed to be built in basically the same general vicinity of where the old home had been. Damien presented a really nice site sketch with his application here. You can pretty much see where that is. If you look at the aerial that I gave you, that I highlighted, it basically will be up near the road, more or less in the northwest part of the acreage. As you can see by the aerial and the photos, the land here is not in production, and it has not been in production because of the fact that it was the building site of the farm. By the way, I did want to mention to you that there is a new parcel that was created here when the line was drawn around the building site. It has been separated from the farmland, and that was all duly done. There had been no splitting in either of those 40-acre tracts, and so it could be done with a simple plat of survey, and it has been done. As far as the land itself, like I said, it's not in production. The soils there are silt loam, has an approximate 2 to 5% slope. Right where the house would be, it's fairly level. There is an existing driveway at this location. Randy reports that it is a dry fill, meets all of the driveway policy requirements, so nothing needs to be done here at all as far as the driveway goes. He does mention in his report that Damien and Jessica are from the area and that they know that there can be issues with drifting snow and soft roads in the spring, and so he's pointing that out. I think likely they know that. There is rural water on the site, so there isn't going to be a need for a new well. There actually is a well there from days gone by. A new septic system, of course, will be required. One of the things that I would mention to you, and I did mention it to Damien, is that the soil here is a silt loam. There always is a possibility that due to that soil type existing that there could be the need for an alternative system here. The old well sits along the east side of the driveway, and that might be the area that we would be looking for to place the septic system. And so if indeed that did occur, we would likely be closing that well. If indeed Damien wants to keep the well, I discussed this with him as well, there is that possibility that he could keep it and use it for other needs as far as like watering the garden or trees or whatever. We'd find a different location for the septic system. It'll all be distance dependent, so to speak, as far as where we go on that property with the septic. It's to be determined, in other words. The surrounding land use here is crop ground primarily. There is a single farmstead over to the east, and the General Source dairy operation is to the northwest. We notified 5 adjacent property owners of this land use hearing today, and we also placed legal notices in all 3 of the official newspapers, as we are required to do. Also, due to the fact that we're operating the way that we are with the courthouse being closed, we did post a notice on the door, the west door, and gave the call-in information to the public in case anybody did want to call in. I did receive 1 written response prior to the hearing today, and it came from John Oberreiter, an adjacent property owner, and he very simply wrote that he is in favor of this change. This proposal, as far as our comprehensive plan and our ordinance goes, is right in line, works very well with our comp plan. It's redevelopment of an old existing farmstead. There is no land being taken out of production, and it's doing exactly what has been encouraged over the years with our land use ordinance. Are there any questions? Or Damien, is there anything you'd like to say that I left out?
No, I think you pretty well covered it, Mark.
Okay. Any questions of the board?
I don't have any. Looks good to me.
Move to approve.
Second.
All right, motion by Gary to approve the land use change for Damien and Jessica Andrew, and seconded by Tracy. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Very good. You got her, young man.
Build a big house.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thanks,
All right,
Damien.
guys, have a good day. And
You too.
good
Take
work.
care.
You bet. Thanks again.
Very good, Mark. Thank you.
Thanks.
Need you to sign these. This is what we approved the renewals on last week for the insurance.
Okay.
So sign here, and then the very bottom.
Did you get a hold of,
Kingston.
June?
That's 9 land use hearings for the year so far this year,
Yes,
since
I don't know
January.
what you want me to put on there, so.
Now, if any of them get to happen,
Yes, we will.
I hope that they get to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Either approved or
There's
you
concerns
agree
about
with
that
it.
out in the acres, so to speak. I just had people mention to me, hopefully a lot of the projects that are lined up will be able to happen ultimately. So hopefully it does happen, but it's been a pretty good roll this year for land use changes, 9 of them since the beginning of the year. So, yeah,
And this is-
you're not gonna cover anything at the,
I don't know on the COVID, I think we'll just update on, what we did with the few drivers' pay and stuff.
okay,
I don't really have anything to you.
I've got other work to do.
I mean, nothing's really changed. I haven't heard like Benton County for staying the same kind of.
17.
There wasn't any yesterday though, right?
Our numbers are going up. It seemed like it was yesterday.
Was there?
Yeah,
Maybe after 11, because
I didn't even pay a big attention to it. Barbara could tell you, I don't know for positive.
Well, if she thinks there's anything that she needs to report on, just have her
Okay,
either shoot me an email or stop in.
I'll ask her to come up if she wants to. Thanks.
Thank
See you
you.
later.
Thank you, Mark.
Take care.
Have a good one.
Okay, under old business, do you recall conversation with Heartland Insurance Risk Pool where they came out and revalued the Benton County Service Center? Okay, they put a value of like
I don't have it in here. It was like,
over 2 million on the property over there for replacement. Okay, and so we've got to get back to them and let them know what our thoughts are, you know. So,
because I knew it was definitely undervalued.
oh gosh, yes.
So that's
Where-
the one we
where
had to
were
go
we?
through.
400,000 or 500,000 on it.
Well, because I went off the cost that we paid.
Right, right. And so it was definitely undervalued.
Well, and then we had that appraisal too at the beginning, and it was.
You know, so anyway, we need to get back to them regarding that coverage. Any thoughts?
What did you pay for it? Did the county pay for it?
It was like 440, but we did the trading with Governor Sherman, so we took
Right.
that building off. Here's the, if you wanna look through these, this is our schedule, and it'll tell you the buildings and what we have contents and value. If you wanna take time and look through some of those.
So that's, it was in my mind, I think we did an excellent job in purchasing that property. Having 3 acres within the city limits, it repurposes a building, which was being repurposed anyway. But, I mean, it just worked out great. But should a natural disaster, don't have to worry about flooding, but like Chattanooga over on Easter Sunday, something like that happened with a tornado, you know, we could be devastated. And, you know, to replace that building would be several $1 million. So,
When I had Ben walk through with them too, to look at all the wiring and stuff we've done.
it's just like the courthouse is currently at $6,082,607. We couldn't replace this courthouse for $6 million.
I think that one needs to go up too.
So that is some thoughts. So we need to, well, here's the county care facility, 2.2 million. Well, again, what happens if? I go through this all the time with my insurance agent. You know, I can't afford to insure personally a replacement cost. But, you know, I look more at market values on mine. But, you know, we need to give Heartland an answer on what to do with this insurance coverage on that service center. And honestly, I think we'd probably be smarter if we bumped that at least gradually up on the courthouse.
What's the proposed insurance on that building?
Well, I think it was 2,040,000, something like that,
So basically 2 million.
just a scotch over.
Yeah, 2.4 or something.
Was it 2.4?
Something like
I thought it was 2.
that. Well, with the
4.
contents and.
Oh, well, contents, yes.
If the building gets completely destroyed, the contents are gone too.
Right. And we could bump that up gradually as well. But
We usually send those out, Nancy does, to every department to look over their stuff too. Make sure we're not missing stuff. Obviously, we do the vehicles as we inventory them. And
I would almost recommend on the courthouse, maybe this year we bump it up to 8, next year up to 10. and we could work with the budget accordingly.
The premiums, yeah.
How much does it cost?
It varies, there's different scenarios they look at when they're going through all that. And we get if we get discounted rates. She'll come in usually and present all that to us, go over.
Yeah, I remember that.
Mhm.
She came in all the time.
She usually does once a year.
But Marshall County with their courthouse, you're what, almost 2 years ago?
Yeah, that one took a hit.
Yeah.
It was scary.
So it does happen.
Yeah, this town's had a number of storms just recently. The rail school, which is right west of there, got hammered.
On 11, we had that windstorm.
That was in 2011, then in 16, I think we had a windstorm out there by the fairgrounds.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know, it's 5-year intervals. I think we're due again. I'm not a pessimist.
Let's hope not.
It's interesting that, I've lived in the same place I've lived since '77, and we've had 2 tornadoes and we never even got crop damage. Half a mile away or a mile away, they got
Devastated, huh?
Hi, Myron.
Hello, Myron.
Good morning.
Well, we need to come back
Pull
to
the
this.
instructions. Push the right numbers. I thought things weren't working correctly.
I saw it pop up.
You guys all have your packets.
Yep, and I printed them off as well.
Oh,
So,
got one. You got it already.
all right, sir.
Fire away.
Please do.
Hopefully then, I heard you talking, Rick, that all 3 of you have maps in front of you.
That is correct.
Okay. To start with, the one on the top that identified as 2020 is kind of just a highlight map of proposed and existing work going on calendar year 2020. The 3 red circles you see are bridges that are currently under construction at some stage in their process. The one there up north, Mount Auburn, just has a little bit of ditch work, grading, seeding to be done. The one over by Jerry Waters has a deck poured here a couple weeks ago, and they're starting to do the road work on the approaches on each side, and then the one up by Urbana is getting ready to start tacking to pour the concrete deck here probably in a month or so.
I drove over, Myron,
Question?
I drove over that bridge over by Jerry Waters yesterday,
Okay.
so it's coming. Basically all they gotta do is, finish it up.
I hadn't been over there for a week, but I know the equipment for doing the approach grading was brought in here a week, 10 days ago, and then, so I knew they were gonna get started shortly.
It's a really nice looking bridge, Myron.
It looked good. Like I say, the day I was out there, they're pouring the end posts on it. Let's see, the other highlighted, I guess I showed them as square red boxes because I knew we were going to do box culvert construction, are projects that are in the loop with the DOT as for letting later this calendar year or anticipated later this calendar year, as well as a couple structures, particularly the one over there by Atkins and the one over by Carey Hills Golf Course that we are developing ourselves with the anticipation of coming to you here probably in the next month or less to set a letting date and distribute the plans for those replacements. wanting to, work on purchasing right away north of Blairstown is more or less what that first map highlights for you. Any questions on it?
None there.
Nope.
Page 2 is fiscal year 21. Proposed work or work, at least contract in place. Work would then follow, but between July 1st of this year through June 30th of 2021. Bridge is highlighted there. I will note, just for reference sake again, 2 bridges north of Benton, the one out by the sand pit, and then north of the airport, east of Benton, over by Schmieke Equipment, Villa Caminga, and the one north of Luzerne. Those are part of a bundling proposal project that the DOT submitted and was successful in getting some major money. Those 4 bridges are going to get tied together with one in Johnson County, hoping to let them late this fall, but that federal funding is going to pay for 55% of the project costs. The remaining 45% will come out of swap funding. The bridge north of Geisert on D37, that was the bridge that Benton County secured a special $2 million state bridge grant to pay for the replacement cost on that one. Cayman and Benton County will pay the difference out of swap funds above that $2 million. The bridge over there east of the Oak Grove Church is one that we've seen deteriorate a little more quickly than anticipated, so we need to replace it. It's currently posted 10 tons. Bridge on 63rd, just east of 218 west of Shellsburg, due for replacement. The deck is showing and needing to be repaired and overlaid just immediately north of Blairstown. I think that captures kind of the bridges on that map. Running down my coding on the side. Box culverts, the first page showed you the box culvert west of Mount Auburn, shooting from a contract standpoint, DOT letting probably August or September of this year to replace that. More than likely that would probably be a 2021 construction project. And continuing to expand on the north Blairstown aspect, doing some grading improvements, the shoulder widening, replacing the culverts under the highway, and then looking at resurfacing that road and tying it with resurfacing South Blairstown, as well as from the landfill to Hannon Park, immediately to the west. The residents out here south of Benton on 61st Street Drive have asked me to put an estimate together for a rock base and a seal coating, part of that segment. I'm working on that. I don't know if they're going to want to pursue that still or not after the estimate, but I went ahead and showed it on the map, as well as the dirt road that we've talked about, 61st Street. I don't know if we do anything or what we do. I think certainly funding and who's going to participate. I think that if that's something that Benton County is going to pursue doing, I think that a cost share needs to be done. I would question if it became something major that the city of Benton would anticipate using heavily, whether that should be anything that Benton County should participate at greater than 50% or not. But I had given you, one of you had asked about just a rough cost that I gave you just on rock alone for that 2/3 of a mile
Right.
at around $40,000. I do know there's some drainage issues. I've had a couple farmers say that hill's too steep pulling up 218 and you need to raise that up so they could pull out of there with the semi. So you're talking a lot more work. That 40,000 is only a tiny sliver probably of the cost if you're going to do some major improvements on that road. I think that captures kind of that math. Were there any questions for federal year 21?
None here.
Nope, I'm good.
I'm good too.
Fiscal year 22, bridges on that map. Do you want me to highlight all of those, like you say, or would you rather I just ask you if you have questions on that particular year map?
Just ask questions, I guess. My opinion.
Okay.
That's fine.
The West Side Road, what are you planning on doing on that one right away?
Similar to what we had done, what I'm proposing to do north of Waterstown, and similar to what we have already done years ago, south of Van Horn. Use the existing road as it is, but put wider shoulders on there, and any of the roadway structures, pipes that need to be extended, either extend them or replace them. In most cases, it's probably replacement would make sense, and kind of go from a 33-foot right-of-way each direction of center line, or 66 feet, to around 50 feet of right-of-way, although I know I would not be able to do that in front of the cemetery, and that may or may not be possible in front of all of the houses.
Myron, this is Rick. Got a question for
Yeah.
you on this fiscal year 22. Urbana, I understand that that's, resurfacing there, and that's a housing development going in over there, correct? Is this resurfacing, would that take place after the roundabout goes in?
I don't know if it would happen after or in conjunction. I know the city of Urbana, I threw this in here just because they stopped, asked the question if some pavement improvements were made on that road, what participation would the county provide? They were looking at more or less an urban design, curb and gutter aspect, and looks to me like it would be certainly a huge benefit to the city of Urbana, and potentially a developer's cost, but that right now is a shared jurisdiction. The east half is of the road is the city of Urbana, the west half is Benton County. As we get closer to that time frame, things may or may not change corporate line wise, but currently it is a shared jurisdiction, so there may be some costs involved potentially with the county, and so I throw it on the map. It might be a 23 year instead. I think the roundabout's actually in 23, but I threw it in the fiscal year 22. As long as things are in the budget, or not budget, in the program, it's kind of like a working plan that things can be shifted from either forward or backwards on a given year. What's critical, usually from a programming standpoint, is to make sure the project exists in that 5-year program.
Sure. Well, I realize that's the farmland over there, just west of Urbana, but the corporate limits of Urbana also include that development just west of the industrial park. I could foresee Urbana, incorporating that farmland into their city limits, so. And I could see that happening after we improve the road. So.
I'm not driving the improvement right now, the city of Urbana is. I threw it on the map just because there is a potential that the county could be asked to participate, and certainly that would be a negotiating tool, and certainly a decision that would be made formally before anything would fully move forward.
Yeah. I just hate to see the county residents pay for that, or even half of it, and then suddenly get annexed in. So
certainly a concern of mine also.
Yeah.
And who knows how quick development would happen or not. But yeah, you look at a map right now, and with the development area over there, industrial park wise by REC, and what has happened immediately south of Urbana, you could anticipate that someday somebody would draw a line and both of those areas would all become one, instead of just a little sliver of 150 that connects them right now.
Yep. Okay. Well, those were the only questions I had. Gentlemen, do you have anything else on fiscal year 22?
Nope. E24, that road east of E24, that's scheduled to get resurfaced or surfaced over to the Lynn County line in fiscal year 22.
That's at Lewis Bottoms, yeah.
Yeah, that's my thought at this point, with right now a factor that's limiting that to be done right now would be that bridge that's got the weight limit on it. It would impede construction traffic from being able to construct that. That would give us the time, hopefully, to address all the other imperfections that we've got on that roadway. But the message I've heard from you over the last couple of years is that let's bypass seal coating that and seeing what traffic does. We built that road for new paving. Let's go ahead and get it paved. So that's how I've been trying to program it. Just a matter of putting it in when it could work, both financially and actually constructability wise.
Yep.
Very good.
Okay. On to 23, unless you have other questions, gentlemen.
Nope.
Okay.
I will note on 23, and you'll see it also on 25, and so maybe it'll eliminate the question in fiscal year 25, but the two Cedar River bridges I have highlighted on the map, the one north of Mount Auburn, I just threw in there kind of as a placeholder in fiscal year 23, but both of those bridges are reaching a point in age and condition where they're probably going to need more major deck repair and or overlay. It seems here in the last couple years, and the current situation in the country may change, but the feds have come out with some infrastructure bridge program money that has come back to the states. The last couple that have come back to the state, the Iowa County Engineers Association has elected to divvy that extra money, not excess, but extra money, equally to all 99 counties like they do with the other bridge funding. But there is a hunch that maybe some of this extra money is going to continue to come back to states, and maybe it would be looked at to be used at higher cost projects. To do an overlay on that Long River Bridge, you're talking probably $2 million plus. I learned here in just last month that there is a way to put a project into the program that you're not actually budgeting dollars, but you're showing a need. And so I put both Cedar River bridges into the 5-year program. I just elected the one that's in the worst condition of the two is the one north of Mount Auburn. The one between Urbana and Shellsburg is in better condition. And we have I've hired a contractor to do minor patching here and there on that. The one north of Mount Auburn is reaching the point where it's the next time patching would need to be done on that. It may be more cost effective to look at doing a more major deck repair and overlay instead.
Okay.
But at this time, we're not showing it as a program dollar amount, showing it as a potential project with an estimated cost. I can give you the paper copy of the printout that goes with the maps. I've always felt the maps did a better job of showing what we were doing instead of the printout list that I did give a copy to Haley.
Sure. Yeah, I was going to ask you what that blue circle was, because you don't have it on your left-hand side there. But you explained it. Thank you. Any other questions on there, gentlemen?
None here.
None here.
Well, we're going to 24 now. And that makes sense on 24 to do resurfacing on that Mount Auburn Road after the bridge repair. So, yeah. Makes a lot of sense. So, if I may, Myron, on 24, and I can't make out the blacktop number, but you've got a right-of-way, increasing the right-of-way on the blacktop just east of Belle Plaine.
Yeah, old Highway 131, the old Lincoln Highway would be, if improvements by 2024 are all made north of Blairstown and north of West Side, that would be one of the few remaining paved roads that Benton County has jurisdiction on that still has a 66-foot right-of-way. That's a snow problem and other concerns that would make sense to look at doing some improvements to it, which would encompass needing additional right-of-way.
Okay. But on 25, you don't have any resurfacing or anything on that road. You're just going to expand the right-of-way is what you're looking at, or work on the shoulders, etc.
Because it was 5 years out, the expectation would be to do pavement improvements. I just didn't show it on year 5. While I was putting all of this together here in the last week or two and seeing how some revenue trends have been happening road use tax wise and some estimates that are going on, I fear or anticipate, however you want to say that, there may be some of these projects that may need to be delayed a little bit because revenue may not be as strong as it used to be.
Sure. All right.
So
that.
whether it's 25 or 26 or 27, if we keep moving in that direction, that would be the plan to make improvements on Old 131, but it may not happen exactly as the maps are drawn.
Okay. All right. And one last question between 24 and 25. You've got north of Benton on what they call the high road, you've got a bridge replacement in 25. Wouldn't you want to do that in 24 prior to resurfacing?
Possibly, yeah. As I put the map together, Rick, sometimes, like what you commented earlier on the river bridge and paving, whether which direction and which time one should be done. What I went through is looked at the list of bridges Benton County has, and the ones based on inspections appear to be deteriorating a little more rapidly, have the worst conditions, and the consultant tries to put a conservative guess together on estimated remaining life, and all of the bridges shown in the program for over the 5 years have a 4-year lifespan expectancy or less.
Okay.
Granted, that's conservative, but that bridge out there points into that. Kind of showed up here in the last inspection, so I kind of threw it out there in year 5. But I would agree with you, Rick. Person might want to do the bridge first and the paving afterwards.
Yeah. And again, I realize this is, you're throwing something against the wall and seeing what sticks. So I get it. It's hard to look at that crystal ball 5 years out. I get it. But, no, this looks excellent, Myron. Questions, gentlemen?
None here.
Okay.
Looks good to me.
Okay, can we get a motion to approve the engineer's 5-year plan?
I'll move.
Second.
Motion by Tracy and seconded by Gary. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Very good, thank you.
Thank you, Myron.
Okay,
Haley, the signature sheets that I gave you, if you want to sign that 5-year program, the auditor's signature, if you'd have Rick sign it on the chairperson,
And then just scan it
why
back
the
to you.
county engineer didn't sign it before he had it delivered yesterday, I don't know, but I thought about that last night.
All right, do you want this just scanned, or can Alicia get it later? I didn't know if you needed a
You can just hold on to them until somebody's up there and pick them up, because I don't have to submit them with the submittal. I just put them in the file.
Okay.
all right,
Next on your agenda, Rick, would be the DOT's fiscal year 21 secondary road budget. Those numbers pretty much are carried forward from the county budget that was passed earlier this year. I will note, and I guess whether you want to call it page 1 or page 2, but the first set of numbers that are revenues, fourth line down, but it's number 3, regular road use tax received. The last estimate that was given to us by the DOT, that Iowa County Engineer Service Bureau helped put together from a forecasting, $4.67 million of road use tax was an estimate that was done earlier this winter. With what's going on in the country right now, vehicular traffic is down 30% during the work week and down 50% during the weekends. The DOT is anticipating probably a 25% reduction in revenue from road use tax monthly wise. That's going to be received here shortly. Road use tax actually comes in a month after it. It represents a month behind of what's actually going on. Time 21 month is actually 2 months behind. So it would not surprise me that the revenue received for road use tax in May would be 25 to 30% less than what it has traditionally been over the year. It may be the same with June. Some people on the national level are wondering whether that trend might stick around for usage on vehicle cars. Truck traffic, contrary, is holding steady or slightly increased. So, I throw that out there is that there's potential that fuel tax revenue that we rely heavily on could actually go down slightly.
That was brought up, I know, too, last week, wasn't it?
And certainly I monitor that and conscious of that. I say that with the 5-year program on some projects, depending on which ones we feel are more critical than the others, so some projects may need to be postponed 6 months a year or something, and make sure that the revenue stream changes so that we aren't trying to spend money before the revenue that we are anticipating show up isn't matching what we were expecting.
Well, again, you gotta work with what you had, so, and then unfortunately, we'll take what we get. So, gladly take what we
But
get.
those two budget sheets that you have for the secondary roads budget, the first sheet is revenues, the second sheet is expenditures, with the last sheet, nearly the last column and nearly the last line shows a $1.2 million carryover estimated.
Okay. All right, you have questions, gentlemen?
None here.
You know, this pandemic it's gonna have a long-lasting effect.
It could drop the road use tax received down to about 3.9 or 3 point.
Well, but if it's 25%, just for the number for a fourth of the year, you know, I'd like to think, you know, once we open things back up, that we're back up and running and people are on the go again. So it's just gonna be for those months. It's not gonna be, you know, on the whole amount.
Right.
So, yeah. So you almost have to divide that by 12 and then take a fourth of, you know, quarter's worth and reduce that by 25%. So, yeah.
Good chance it ain't gonna be 4.6.
I know. I'm sure it's not. But, okay, well, like I say, it's gonna have a long-reaching effect.
Yeah.
Okay. So you need a motion to approve this, Myron?
Yes, please.
Okay. Can I get a motion to approve the
So move.
fiscal year 21 IDOT?
Second.
All right. Tracy made that motion and Gary seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Good, thank you. All right.
Third thing on the agenda was a resolution to amend the current program over last month. I think it was in February, or actually not last month, but in February, and then also in, I think it was July or August. But the two bridges that are under construction, two of the three bridges under construction right now, the one by Cherry Waters and the one over by Urbana, were in the 2019 program, but for some reason I forgot to carry them forward to the 2020 program, so we needed to put them back in. We had passed resolutions at each of those times addressing that. As I was playing with the program and shifting some funding around, this resolution presented itself that I needed to put forth before you. That's what's the first two projects being added. Projects that are being modified are switching some funding around. First one is a project that was on the map out on what I call County Home Road, but west of Oak Grove Church, replacement 80/20. Now that the swap funding allows us to use 100% bridge money, it's changing the funding sources from 80% bridge funding to 100% bridge funding. So it's basically going to be a money in, money out type deal. The same is true with the second project on the list. I learned during programming right now, the bridge north of Geyser, I'm only supposed to show the cost that would be associated with each county. So instead of showing that $2 million grant as a Benton County recipient, I need to take the total project cost, divide it in half. Tama County shows half the cost in their program. Benton County shows half the cost in their project. West of Mount Auburn is the fourth project over 2 miles west of Mount Auburn on that blacktop. That one was going to use some regional money that was going to be 70/30. This is utilizing swap money to use the county's bridge money to pay for 100% of it. The two culverts, one immediately north of, wrong spot. Fifth one on there is the bridge deck repair and overlay just north of Blairstown on the highway. Again, was going to use different funding, and now using the bridge swap money, it can be used to pay for 100% of that project. The next project is a culvert north of U-Haul. Both culverts north of U-Haul, the first one just immediately north, the other one near the curve, and using the same swap money to pay for that instead of other funding sources. If that all meets with your approval, I would look for a motion, ask for the board chair's signature on that resolution.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Gary made that motion to approve this 5-year amendment to the construction program. And Tracy seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Hey Myron, I had an email question too for you. Do you know who's running fiber on 24th Avenue Drive out by Mini Estima?
That is Alliant Energy.
Okay,
Is whose line it is. I can say that
Okay.
they've got multiple contractors working for them doing the work.
okay. That's what, I think it was like an out-of-state plate or something, so somebody questioned it.
The contractor that's been parking their equipment at the old lot that Del Hansen's place
Oh, yeah.
is doing that work.
Okay, yeah, there's a lot of them there.
Yes.
Okay, that's the only question I had. Gotcha.
Well, it's good to see this swap money coming in.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, Myron, is there anything else?
That's all I had for you today.
Gentlemen, do you have anything for Myron?
We got one thing. I discussed this with Myron yesterday. This is news to you two guys. I'm just throwing it out there. The city of Newhall contacted me, and they want some place to put solar up to run their pumps in their pump house for the city of Newhall. They have no place close to where the wells are and everything. And right across the road is our maintainer shed.
Okay.
So they asked permission if they could put the solar panels behind it. So I did some reconnaissance on it. I had the assessor prep me off. The lot is 50 feet wide and 317 feet long. I'll let you look at it first. I talked to Myron about it yesterday morning to put the bug in his ear. We can't make any decisions today, but I'm kind of in for it on the grounds that I guess why I would set up a lease prop deal is that they would mow the lawn. cleaning up.
Sure.
Otherwise, we have, our county guys have to mow that shed. They mow all, all those sheds
Right,
around
right,
in the county,
right.
but this would be one. And the way that lot is set up, it's, you can't get behind the building.
This is north.
Yes.
Okay.
Myron, I'm gonna throw some 2 cents in there, what do you think?
Question somebody asked me this morning is, could the shed be provided power from those panels also?
Ooh, that I don't know. That I'd have to ask.
Depends
But like
probably.
you said, Tracy, right now there's 240 feet probably of that behind that shed that just gets mowed, right now.
Yep. It just
It's too narrow to really come up with any ideas that would be of use, need for the county. I don't know that I want to call it dead space, but it's green space right now that, if something like solar panels could be useful on that area, I think it's worth researching, I guess, at the very least, and whether other things that might come up as questions prevent it or make other locations more suitable than this one, so be it, but I guess initially from the thought, it's worth allowing to probably proceed farther to see if there's something that could be amicably worked out between the city and the county.
I don't see a problem.
It's commercial, so they could actually build right up to the lot lines,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? So it's commercial, they can get away with that.
And
And that's a city, they can do what they want to anyway, but I just thought, years past is what I found out is that the people that own the elevator used to mow around there. And then something's happened now in the last couple of years, and now the county has to send a guy down to mow,
sure.
and I just thought, instead
Well,
of
there's-
doing the not stupid, but the $1 a year lease agreement, like
Mm-hmm.
the world is noted for.
This may be something that the county should be looking at too for some of our other facilities. We all know that these utility bills are not going to go down.
Mm-hmm.
We see what they are, for, I'll pick on conservation. We saw that, REC bill last week.
Mm-hmm.
And, that was just for that 1 month. Holy cow. And there's lots of room out to those parks. So maybe we should be looking at that type of thing for the county. I don't know where to go with that, but, but that may be.
I just got
I
a call.
think you should pursue.
I just got a call, like I said, it was about
Sure.
7-8 minutes till 9 o'clock, and then I got on the computer right away. You already had the agenda posted. So,
Oh, yesterday?
yep. So,
Oh, I don't.
If it's before 9, you can still interrupt me, we'll just redo it.
It doesn't sound like Myron's got a big
No,
problem with it.
he was for it, because like I
Sure.
said, that
Sure.
frees up a guy that he don't have to haul the lawnmower or the rider down there.
Well, obviously, they are already looking into the cost.
They're
and-
dealing with Robbie's in Blairstown down
Etc.
there. Yes,
Okay. Well, maybe we should be doing the same
yeah.
for some of our other facilities, county facilities. I
Okay.
mean, that'd be,
Okay.
and I think there's federal funding available too.
That I don't know. I do not know.
Well,
This was just asked me yesterday, and
Okay.
I wanted to call Myron first to get, so I did not spring him on it like I just did you two guys.
Do you want it on next week?
Yeah, go ahead, let me talk to the mayor.
Okay.
So
So
he's
you
the one
wanna-
that called me. And
Just
I
put
told him
solar
right away,
panels.
we couldn't make a decision today, but he wants to know, because they want to start proceeding. If this can't happen, then they're gonna have to look somewhere else or not even do the
Right.
project.
I don't
So
have a
let's
problem.
discuss solar panels. You wanna have it with Myron and
I would say easement.
solar
Writing an
panel
easement.
Okay.
And like I said, then we can have Mr. Thompson write an easement up if the town agrees.
Which-
You know what I mean?
You won't.
You won't.
Is that all right with you, Myron, to get that on next week?
Sure.
Okay,
All right, I'll try to coincide with your time then.
all right,
Okay.
Sounds good.
all right. I think that's it.
I got one more thing.
Oh, okay.
Myron, I had a call from Kenny Krug last night. And
Okay.
I said, I can't, he was looking for a time frame. When do you think we're gonna start over there by his house? And I said, man, you know, I said, last night when he called, I said, it's 28 degrees. I said, it's supposed to be 70 when you do that stuff. So you thinking June?
Probably. That was on my call list today, was to talk to JB Holland and see if they've got a guesstimate on their schedule with the 218 interchange there as to when I could have those said tons out of that pile, or they wanted to work with me on cleanup of that pile.
Okay.
So those were questions that I was hoping to find out here in the next few days,
Okay.
to maybe have at least an idea whether that's June, July, May,
Okay.
sometime, hopefully sooner than later, but I know that weather plays a part into it, and I know that it sounded like the price might be a little bit more friendly to Benton County if I could help with cleanup of the pile that's sitting there.
Okay. The main reason I think he was calling is because, you know, he don't want to tie into a full year contract of putting dust control down.
Right.
So I was leaning on, I said, well, you should probably do the May application at least. But I said I would contact him tonight and let him know.
I would say that would be a safe assumption.
Okay.
I would expect it to be done before we get into the second and third application timeframes, as some do.
Okay.
Say some do from a third standpoint, but yeah, if unless you can tell Mother Nature to
Correct.
make sure the wind doesn't blow out of the west like it was a little bit yesterday, and that way he doesn't have to have any.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, is there gonna be any price reduction then? If he's going through the county?
Or,
He goes through a private application.
Oh, he does?
They
Okay.
can do it, yeah.
All right, okay.
Or he has here in
Yeah.
the last number of years. And I'm
Okay.
sure they would offer him a cost that would represent one
Sure.
application instead of multiple ones.
Okay, all right.
okay, sounds good, Myron.
I see, Myron, that you're painting some of the roads. That looks nice.
Yeah, I took advantage of last week's weather as opposed to this week's weather. I'm not sure you can get paint to come out of the paint gun today.
Well, I'm glad to see you're working at it.
That's all I have.
That's it. Thank you, Myron.
You're welcome.
Stay healthy.
You too.
You wanna give them a little update on that webinar you sat in on today?
Yes, I forwarded all three of you
Right.
the slides from the webinar, which I found very helpful since I was going into payroll this weekend. So what I had to do, or was suggested to do, was to average any part-time people we have that haven't had hours. I had to go back, do a history, 6-month history on them, and average their hours and pay them accordingly. And that basically pertained to our transportation drivers. And what I did is I gave them the benefit of the doubt. If they had hours, if their hours that they drove was more than their average, I paid them what they worked. If they had hours, but it was less than what their average was, I paid them their hours. their average hours. And then, those that didn't have any time, of course, got their average hours. And I'm gonna type up a letter to put with their paid timesheet statement stating why they are receiving a check. And Friday, I listened to a webinar with the federal government. There was a gentleman from the White House, Joni Ernst, and another representative that all spoke. And it sounds like one of the packages out there is Department of Transportation has money for services. And Brock did notify Dana prior to this webinar that there is going to be funding. So it sounds like we will get some reimbursement possibly through that program.
And then Judy Funk.
Funk notified us this morning that wanting to know if we had any employees that are not working but are continuing to be paid. There is a possibility that we will receive guidance from the state that this payroll will be exempt from workers' compensation premium. And so I told her we are already keeping track of all of our COVID. And yes, we do have employees that are getting paid even though they have not worked. And so
they'll do an audit in July and then we'll get all that taken care of. So.
Yeah.
On that stuff for COVID.
She said that they may be able to deduct that payroll from the county payroll when they perform their workman's comp audit in July. And so I don't know, did you have any questions on these slides that I sent you from the webinar?
I did not.
I printed it off myself, kept it with my notes, and Haley and I do have a file that's marked COVID. One thing that it did clarify for me, and maybe you guys understood that this emergency paid leave is only good for up to 75 or 80 hours, whatever your full-time hours are. So, say we have a couple people that have lost childcare and they're splitting up with their spouse. So I have to keep track of how many of those hours, and they can get paid up to 75 or 80 hours, whatever their full-time hours are.
So far, I think we're getting pretty, like you said, it's just minimum.
Yeah.
It's affecting so far, so.
It wasn't as great a headache as I was anticipating.
Well, that's good.
Yes, yes. And those webinars last week brought great clarification.
There's one Thursday too I have from Ed Bailey, so you and I are trying to watch that.
Okay.
So I don't know, Barb, did you have any update? No more cases, how many cases?
20, we have
20 now.
Scattered
20?
everywhere.
Very good. Well,
That's all I had to.
all right. Well, it's 10:23. We've missed our 10:15 time. Thank you.
Barb?
Yes.
Did you want me in on this?
Okay, Mr. Thompson, can I get a motion to go into closed session as per Iowa Code 21.51C?
So moved.
Can I also ask that it be also pursuant to 21.5 sub 1 sub G?
That one too. So moved.
Okay,
Second.
And the kitchen sink.
all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Alright.
Now, shut everything down. Sorry.
So give me a second. And this one.
Does this one shut off?
Nope.
Nope, there's.
Throw it where?